We're excited because we continue in the story in the vein of Hollywood, and our next panel is called The World is Watching. And we're excited because we have Fox Digital, we have Screens, which is really exploding into the marketplace as an Israeli technology where all the studios seem to find Screens as their darling. And we have Dick Clark Productions, led by Asaf Blecher, to tell us how TV is transforming in the marketplace. I welcome to the panel all three of these great guys to talk to us a little bit more about TV and the world is watching. Where are our guys? So hi, Hardy.
What's going on?
Well, it's a pleasure to have you here with us today.
I'm happy to be here.
We like the Fox is local and uses a lot of Israeli technology. As just before Asaf and Ellie join us, can you tell me which Israeli technology you've been using recently?
All of them. We use everything.
That's good. That's getting harder to do
Right?
since there's so many nowadays.
Although Asaf can tell us about Screens. We did a show with them called Boom, which we've actually done a few Israeli shows. We've repurposed, but
So tell us about Boom. But just before Asaf.
Actually, Asaf could join exactly this because they invented it and created it, like the show itself, and the format, and produced it in here for Fox. So it's been that we all did a project.
Here, Asaf.
Now you can tell about Boom better than me for sure.
I'm here.
Boom away.
thank you for the token applause. Yes.
Okay. So what are we talking about? Boom.
Boom. Let's talk about Boom.
Boom. So Boom was a great game show on the Fox network this summer. The show was created in Israel, and I produced it here in the U.S. with a little bit of changes. Obviously, we need to adapt any format from Israel to the US and make it a little bit more Americanized. And together with Ellie, who created an interesting viewer experience, we did something, I think, unique and amazing. Ellie, you want to...
Yeah, we can talk, we can talk about... we will together replace a moderator. So we did, basically we wanted to create a destination that will be a digital one, will be with the same content brand that will serve the audience while they are watching the show as one as a play along, so they can participate in the same experience as the contestant in the studio. And the other one is a 24/7, a multiplayer game that you can play and compare to your friends and leaderboard. And I think it shows how from Fox to DCP building a brand that works in all the different platforms.
Yeah, I think as the big picture, we're trying to figure out ways to engage the audience, use technologies to make TV more interesting and engaging. As the audiences are fragmenting across lots of different devices, people are watching in different ways. We want to do things whatever we can to drive the audience to the live program. And so we saw Boom as a very interesting opportunity to create like interactive TV where you have a mobile experience that can go along with the show. And so the show becomes more than just that half hour, but it's a brand. It's an entity that can live outside of the traditional television window and follow where those audiences go. And so we're always looking for more things like that to engage the audience. You know, TV's become much more active. Media has become much more active than it used to be.
And mainly with the younger demographic. Yeah. They always love to be on TV and on something else. So the minute you give them another platform to get excited, to feel that they are part of the show, that they are playing live, it makes a whole new experience for them.
I don't know. I had a lot to add on this, but I think that when you see that the format is created in Israel, developed by Keshet and DCP, and then you see that the culture barriers are not really exist, or if they exist, it could be managed. I think it's beautiful to see that how many shows are coming from Israel, especially when we are in the Israel conference. In other conferences, we'll mention it a bit less, but I think in this one we probably can say it's pretty. It's not obvious that the primetime show in the States, especially at Fox, like as a network that is originally started.
We have a lot of Israeli shows that sort of get repurposed and remade in the U.S. I mean, Homeland, right, is a remake of which is produced by Fox in the U.S. And then this whole idea of the game shows and the interactive shows is super interesting because of the way that Israeli culture is set up and the way that those shows work. You can really get a huge impact. You can get a large percentage of the country watching. And so we do have these challenges. We bring those shows to the U.S. We have this problem. We have time zones. We can't get everyone in the country watching the same show at the same time because we're in 3 different time zones. So we have to deal with that. The other one that comes to mind was Rising Star, which was on ABC, right?
Yeah.
Which you were involved with, I think.
Yeah, Rising Star. Talking about the time zones, it's something that Ellie and myself experienced every week when we produced the show for ABC. How do you overcome the time zone? How do you make everybody feel that they are part of the moment, the same moment? And
what did you do?
Ellie, what did you do?
Yeah,
it was mainly Ellie. You know, when I produce, I'm on the TV side, so I'm producing one show at the same time, and whoever want to watch it can watch it. But then Ellie comes in and try to find solutions, so every time zone will have their own experience.
Yeah, and I think to implement it in a show, especially here, it's not obvious at all to have even a live show that being in Rising Star. To create that kind of concept, to have what eventually happened is that created what we call the West Side Save, or West Coast Save, and it gave the power to the audience that are not actually participating in real time, but they are influencing the show and the result. And if they can save someone, it's a role they can act or take part in as part of the show. I think.
And we also show the live voting for each time zone, so they got to see what they're voting and how they're voting as well.
Yeah, and I think one of the interesting thing there was that we always talk about UI and UX on mobile, but I think that one of the coolest things on Rising Star was that the UI that you saw between the East Coast and West Coast was very similar to what you see on games like racing cars, like you see what happened in the East Coast. It's by the timeline of the show, so you see kind of the tense, and you create another layer of drama. That is kind of comparing East and West, and I think that it shows the creative way to deal with that specific challenge that happens every day.
If there is one more text,
we are also trying to find these ways to make these shows more interactive, because as the audiences are watching more on DVR, or they're watching the next day, they're skipping the ads, they're watching different formats, so we're always trying to find things to engage a live audience. A live, is better for us, as live as possible. So we're right now working on the next season of American Idol, which will come out in January, and every year we're trying to find new ways to make that show engaging and interactive. We're doing we rethink the way that voting works all the time. How can we make voting more exciting and interesting? Now you can vote through Facebook, you can vote through Google, you get 50 votes and you can allocate them to different contestants. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for technology to come to television and create these interactive pathways between the shows and the audience. And I think it works particularly well for these contestant shows and game shows. It's a little harder for serialized dramas. We certainly are doing a lot more in terms of, like you were saying, voting, putting interactive graphics on the screen. We now have systems, and there's a bunch of partners we have to do different kinds of technologies to incorporate what's going on online real time into on-screen graphics as it happens in an automated way. And that's come a long way from just the simple polls that show how many people are liking or hating what this performer is doing, to more rich interactions. People, like you mentioned, seeing themselves on TV is a big deal still, and reflecting what the audience is doing in real time is a big thing for us. So what else is going on? What else you got? What's next? What are you guys developing?
Another interesting project that we have is a game show for the Game Show Network called Face to Face. Also, Ellie created a different experience for the viewers, which is really interesting. Again, it's taking a format that is quite, I would say, simple. You know, it's based on old dating games, but the minute there is a digital component, makes it a different game. It makes it a different experience. The way you participate, the way you choose, the way you find your date. So I think that's something that is, for me, was very innovative as a TV producer who looking for things like that.
And I think that when from our conversation, even when you think about ABC, for example, having The Bachelor for maybe 13 seasons. Maybe I'm wrong with one season here or there. But to think about it, for 13 seasons, they have the biggest dating brand in the States for almost 13 years, and didn't thought even about launching something like Tinder for 13 years. It's a bit crazy, because this is a media company, and this is a media company, and it's the same thing. And to create a content brand that at the end you use that brand in different platforms, it just makes sense. And I think that when we talked about the dating show that is face to face, the first thing that raised as a digital thing is to create a digital destination that will create a real asset and a real value for all the parties, the network, the production company, the creators of the show, and of course the users and their value, the value they are getting. And I think it's almost in every genre to build like a real destination, not just a promotion for the show. I think it happened in Rising Star. We did the same thing in Boom, and it's like to create an asset that, in a good scenario, you have users and traffic and monetization by itself, because the traditional business model can hold the television industry as it is. It seems like, at least.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities for this cross-platform storytelling. Today we're launching a mobile pinball game for Archer. We won an Emmy for virtual reality for Sleepy Hollow. There's a whole virtual reality experience that's basically kind of a spin-off of the show. So there's lots of interesting opportunities in new forms of digital media, but bringing those story worlds into new media formats. I also think, as we've seen the tremendous growth in viewing on different platforms and on digital platforms, we're seeing a new form of interaction, because people are watching it on an interactive screen. People are watching it on a touch screen, and so you can actually do stuff in the same screen where you can interact. You know, we used to, for the past, say, 20 years, we've talked about second screen interactive TV or social TV, where you would have a traditional television show and then you would interact with the audience on some second screen. And it's been a big challenge to integrate those. And what's happening now is so many people are watching on a digital device to start with. It's a single screen experience. You actually have control of the screen, so we can put dynamic graphics on the screen. We can put voting inside the show. We can make a social experience where you can see what people are doing inside the show. And I think that's the future, and what we're building towards is the world where the audience, a large chunk of the audience, is watching in an app that is a piece of software that we have control over. We're not just a video signal anymore. We're a software platform. As the networks are a software platform, and the devices are software platforms. In this whole thing about TV is a series of apps, right? The new Apple TV, Roku, and all that. Everybody's building TV apps. HBO is an app. Fox is an app. How can we make those apps more experiential rather than just video streamers? And that's where we're looking for the future, and where we look at events like this, where we find companies that are building things that we can take advantage of to make those experiences deeper and more interesting.
Are we going to watch some videos? Yes?
You want to watch some TV?
What are we watching? Ellie, what did you... Oh, this is yours,
Google
right?
Cloud Platform?
I think it's without the sound.
Oh, screens
Yeah,
case study.
sound.
This is yours.
Maybe you can start it with the sound. The world of television is changing. Less and less people watch TV at the time of broadcast. Well, it's no secret that the world of television is changing. Less and less people watch TV at the time of broadcast. At Screens, we bring viewers back to live television by getting them to connect, engage socially, and influence the show in real time.
To create these experiences, we've had to marry creative and technology while overcoming some very challenging issues. That's why we called on Google. In each show, millions of viewers are interacting. That's millions of requests per second. Because it's live television, often in prime time, downtime or stalls are not an option. We needed a platform that could support this in real time. We chose Google Compute Engine because it scales well across all layers. Even the load balancer doesn't need any pre-warming. We produce many formats around the world. Most of our shows are 45 minutes long, and we only need the service for that amount of time. With sub-hour billing, we only pay for that portion of the hour that we actually use. Google built this great highway. Screens came up with a groundbreaking idea, like a new 16-cylinder sports car, if you will.
We created a digital lineup product that allows broadcasters to turn viewers into users by engaging them in measurable interactive experiences.
Through active real-time participation in the show, viewers can determine its outcome like never before. By this, we're enabling format developers to bring to life shows and ideas they could only dream of a few years ago.
I think it gives you the sense of how broadcasters will be in the upcoming years. Live, interactive, big television events, when entertainment content and tech will be integrated naturally. We are all really excited about the future. It's practically here already. Thank you. I think we have more videos, no?
You want to talk about it, or...?
You want to pitch Screens?
Yeah, we can talk a bit about Screens.
Yeah, talk a bit about Screens.
Basically, this is a case study that Google is making on video. Actually, it's not a final cut. It's happening for more than a year. About the technology that Screens developed. The main challenge that we had is how you created the barrier was how to interact with a lot of users, millions of users in 1 second, on the same second with everyone. And television is probably the only medium that you need to interact with mass audience on the same second. So you can see in our servers 0 users, and a second after 2.5 million. And most of the different technologies that have been developed around the world, when they get to between 150,000 to 600,000 per second, interactions per second, they just or collapse or having some crashes and glitches. And it just makes sense because nobody planned servers to go from 0 to 2 million in 1 second. It's exactly like we never planned cars to go from 0 to 100. So that's the whole kind of technology behind Screens, is the real-time interactions from all the different angles. It doesn't really matter if it's content, what the kind of content, sorry for this, if it's video or images or text or any other interaction like polling or voting. So just to put things in proportion, Facebook is handling 66,000 posts in a second. When we did Rising Star, we needed to handle almost 2.8 million interactions per second. Eventually in the season it was around 1 million, 1.5 million per second, and it's pretty crazy to get to those numbers when you think about even the biggest, Facebook is the highest one, by the way, in Google search, but it's numbers that servers are not built to go from, from that kind of. So this is what we're still working on, the same kind of technology, the same platform that allows to create a full app by just dragging and dropping and create a full experience. And that's it. The company is divided to half content guys and half tech guys, engineers, and the conversation between them is our mission on the day-to-day. Not an easy one, but that's screens basically.
Great.
You got a video?
We got a video of Dick Clark Productions.
We're the place where the music started.
Rock around the clock. Bill Haley. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight.
We're the place where the music continues.
Sound in my heart, the beat goes on and on and on and on. Boom, clap, you make me feel.
Live entertainment is in our DNA. That's why we have more franchise hits than anyone else. The Golden Globes on NBC.
We celebrate all the great television shows and all the movies that North Korea was okay with.
You get to do what you've always dreamed to do.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm extremely grateful.
The 42nd President of the United States, Bill Clinton.
The NFL honors.
And the AP Most Valuable Player is
Offensive Player of the Year is. I'd just like to thank our incredible fans.
Thank you very much.
The Academy of Country Music Awards on CBS.
The 50th anniversary of the ACM Awards. It's country music's party of the year. Go country.
The Billboard Music Awards on ABC.
Are you ready, Vegas? Yeah, you're ready. A showgirl needs her fans. I won. One Direction! I love you so much more than I'll ever be able to say to you. Thank you.
Miss America on ABC.
Your new Miss America is Miss Georgia. Betty Cantrell.
The Streamy Awards on VH1.
It is a team internet takeover.
Not gonna do what everyone thinks I'm gonna do.
Gigi Gorgeous!
Give it up for Future!
Superwoman! Thank you.
And now, we are extending one of our biggest brands to a new audience with the Latin AMAs on Telemundo.
Gloria Trevi!
Yuri Ray!
The Hollywood Film Awards.
Oh my, oh my, oh my.
Wow, do you feel the excitement in the room?
When they told me there were no other nominees, I felt cautiously optimistic.
The American Music Awards on ABC.
The American Music Award goes to...
Rihanna! This is for you guys. Sam Smith.
Last year I wrote an album about being lonely, and tonight I couldn't feel further from lonely.
The American Country Countdown Awards on Fox.
How we feeling, Nashville?
Put your hands together, Mr. Kenny Chesney.
Thank you guys very much. I really appreciate this.
Thank you, Country Radio.
And New Year's Rockin' Eve on ABC.
Live in Times Square.
The #1 New Year's celebration.
And we are quickly expanding our footprint with the hilarious new comedy series, World's Funniest.
Nicki Minaj just hired this kid as a backup dancer.
Returning this fall for season 2 on Fox. And also on Fox, So You Think You Can Dance, now in its 12th season.
And America's favorite dancer is
Gabby.
With tentpole franchises and exciting new programming,
Bring the action.
Dick Clark Productions keeps coming at you live.
I didn't realize I need to say thank you to
We
Fox
do a lot of business, yeah.
for keeping the lights on. Thank you.
You're welcome.
But yeah, D-Clark Production is known for live entertainment. It can be reality shows like So You Think You Can Dance or Rising Star to award shows and red carpets. And I think that's where, and guys correct me if I'm wrong, but I think live events and live programming is where viewership is going, because people understand that they have to be in the moment. Mainly with award shows, if you didn't watch it, there's no point of watching it, because you're going to hear who won and what happened on social media, on Facebook, on Twitter, on wherever. So although I think 6 or 7 years ago we saw a decline in live entertainment, as social media grew and our shows became stronger, because it's an experience that people are watching at the same time. New Year's Rockin' Eve, it's a moment that everybody's watching. Everybody's waiting for the ball to drop in New York City at one specific time. So it makes it such a strong moment for TV and for social.
And we've seen live events driving a lot of audience. Live events growing, whereas sort of overall average TV ratings moving the other direction. Live events keep growing. I mean, particularly sports and the NFL keeps getting huger, but these awards shows have been growing really strongly, and I think it's because of social media. We'd like to think it's because social media can drive TV viewing. People will jump onto Facebook or Twitter and they'll see that, oh, everyone's talking about the ACAs. Like, let's go. I guess I should turn that on. Yep. It's more interesting with the TV show than it is just watching the feeds go by. And so that's where I think the most interesting interactive TV experiences have been lately, around these live events. The Oscars, the Emmys keep going up as well. And so we're looking to try to take advantage of more of those. So we have the American Country Awards. We have
Miss Universe.
there is Miss
That's
Universe.
New.
That's right. That's coming. We have some Thanksgiving specials we have a dog show, which is going to be great. We have World's Funniest Fails every Friday, which is super fun and very related to what's going on in social. Like, it's kind of taking that social footprint onto TV. We have the whole New Year's Eve segment. Everybody's got their own New Year's Eve show. Everybody's been doing live productions of Broadway shows the last few years. So NBC did Peter Pan. I think NBC started it with Sound of Music, and it was huge. We're doing Grease in late January, I believe, which will be a live production of the Broadway show. We just announced a Rocky Horror Picture Show for next year. So we're definitely adding more and more live events, big specials to the schedule, because that's where the business opportunity is.
Maybe just more about the philosophy of it is when we see the OTT and VOD and everyone consume, it's a evolutionary change in the user or the viewer behavior, and I think that to adapt it to a live, like to expect someone to set an appointment with a TV, the broadcaster in a way needs to do the same thing. Like, if it's we're expecting someone to be there in real time, as a broadcasters, we need to produce it and show it in real time and let people. It's kind of like I would say that the event is any other party, and I'm preparing the party and I'm buying snacks and I'm putting like the lights on and music and everything, but I'm not inviting the people to participate. And this is what most of the broadcasters today have, that kind of experience around the world. When they don't see the interactive part, it's basically asking the people to be part of the event and to participate. And I think that we see that kind of change, especially in news, sport, award shows. But it will become more and more when there is no good reason to watch something that is scripted, for example, in real time. Not today, at least, but it seems like as we see the viewer behaviors.
And it's really hard to do live events on digital. Netflix doesn't have anything live. So for us, it's a great opportunity to leverage what traditional television does really well, is stream the same thing to every household in the country at the same time. That's very hard to do over IP, and still will be for a little while. So that's a big piece of it for us.
And also when we see that Tim Cook just announced that next week they're gonna launch the Apple TV 2, and I think when you look at the strategy, I know if it's not gonna be too philosophical, but if you see it Apple TV and the way it's structured, there is the iTunes areas that is a VOD one, and to compete Apple, it's going to be a huge problem for any creator or broadcaster. And at the moment, you're buying content by the piece that you buy, like every episode or a season. But probably in a year, where exactly what I did in the music area, they will adopt the Netflix kind of strategy, and then it will be subscription-based. And from that moment, the only thing that will be for the broadcaster is to become an app on someone else's platform. But not just to become an app, is to become an app with a different essence than a VOD one. Because if the VOD is going to be part of the subscription of Apple, it's probably the app for the broadcaster needs to be with engagement, with a good reason while to engage with the show and to watch it through the specific app and not through Apple's subscription base, because that's what Apple doing to Spotify now, that they adopted the same model, and that's basically it for the other players.
Yeah, right now we're seeing such a huge, crazy amount of experimentation in the business models of video delivery. With Netflix is producing movies for theaters, right? You've got Amazon bundling video in with a shopping service and making Emmy-winning comedies. They're gonna Hulu is doing a bunch of stuff. Netflix is picking up Chelsea Handler. There's all these different experiments. There's various over-the-top services like Dish Network with their over-the-top service, Sling. Yeah, the Sling service. Sony with PlayStation Vue for that price point. What Comcast and Xfinity are doing. There's so many different ways to buy video now. It's unclear how that's going to shake out. I think there's going to continue to be more experimentation. The model that we've been pursuing, which is you can still buy everything from your cable or satellite company. You kind of get everything. And some of them will sell you Netflix now. And Apple will now sell you HBO through their iTunes billing system. And then they take out HBO and Showtime. So how those models shake out, I think, is going to take a little while to play out. But it's a really interesting time in terms of video distribution and the business models. And it's definitely changing fast. I don't have the answer, though.
None of us.
I know. I can see you all thinking, "Well, what's the answer, genius?" Yeah. That's what I'm here for. Somebody out here has the answer, and they're going to tell me.
Yeah, that would be nice to hear. Basically, we all would be very thankful. But I remember maybe 4 years here on the same conference. I remember we had a panel here with also, I think, the same name, The World is Watching or something like this, and I said a sentence that back then people at the panel didn't like so much. I said that linear TV is dead, it's just not smelly yet. And it was 5 years ago or 4 years ago, and now I think it's much more acceptable, like from everyone every player just get it as much more, oh, okay, yeah, it's not that it's changing, but yeah, no way.
Yeah. Okay, I think we can...
Is that it? We made all our points? All right, we win.
It's time for a TV
I see Sharon on the side, so I know it's...
Sharon has had enough.
Yeah.
It's now time for their viewing pleasure to go to a commercial break. And I want to thank you all very, very much. We love TV. I know I'm addicted. The hardest thing for me last night, I was so tired, I wanted to watch a little bit more, but couldn't. Got to go to sleep. But now after the conference, I'll revert back to watching TV again. Thank you. And I want to give you each a little symbol of Israel's cartoon industry from the 1950s, which you'll, a little bit of Dosh and a little bit of Srulik. Thank you. Thank you all very much. Much appreciated. Thank you. Thank you. We're going to do a fun little wave to the back. Everyone wave. So everybody, this is very fun. We have great food outside for a break. We'll take 20 minutes and then we'll come back in for some wonderful comedy. We have great comedians, and we're talking about Israel and how comedy is taking over. So come back in and additional sessions. The session is called Funny Business. And then what we all love, we'll have VCs on the beach talking about VCs, then lunch. And after lunch, we revert to our executive connection, and we have Tim Kring and Gideon Raff coming in to talk about Dig and Heroes Reborn. Thank you.